Okay, here we go on lesson 2. We have come to learning about area, and specifically today we're going to focus on the area of quadrilaterals. And you should remember from Unit 4 that quadrilaterals is just a fancy name for four-sided shapes. So we're going to be looking at four-sided shapes today and finding their area. Now, area is different than perimeter. Perimeter was the distance around a shape. Area is the space inside of a shape. So we're going to be thinking about how to measure how much space is inside a four-sided shape today. So instead of thinking about fencing that's going around your yard, you can think about if you had a room and you wanted to put some new carpet or some new flooring in, you'd have to know the area to know how much carpet or flooring to buy. And I'm going to draw some lines on this rectangle to help us understand how area works. So because we have a measurement of 2 centimeters on this side, what I'm going to do is I'm going to split the rectangle into 2 sections on this side, and then we have 4 centimeters going the other way, so I'm going to split it into 4 going this way, right? We have 1, 2, 3, 4 centimeters on this side. Now what I've really done is I've illustrated what area is and how we can figure out the answer to area questions. So we have here little boxes that are 1 centimeter by 1 centimeter. So they have measurements of 1 centimeter for each side of the box or the square. And I want to use the word square because it's going to become important when you're thinking about how to answer these questions. So we have all sorts of little boxes, 1 centimeter measurement on each side. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of them. So we have 8 of these little squares that are 1 centimeter by 1 centimeter. So our area can be expressed as 8 centimeters squared. Okay, and we need to have a little 2 up here to represent that our units are squared. We have square centimeters or square kilometers, miles, whatever you are working with. You have to have the squared symbol in your answer for area. Now, we are going to use a formula to figure this out, and it's a pretty simple formula. We really won't have that many steps. You may be used to finding the area of rectangles using length times width. We are going to be using some different letters that mean the same thing, but it's going to be handy for some other shapes as well. So instead of thinking length times width, think to yourself base times height. The base is the bottom of the shape, the bottom straight side. So for base, we're going to put in a 4 for 4 centimeters, and the height is the line that you can draw, the straight line that you can draw from the base up to the top of the shape. So we have 4 times 2, we have base times height. It's the exact same thing as length times width. We're just using some different terminology here. And you'll find that we come to the answer of 8 centimeters, and not just centimeters, they have to be centimeters squared. And there's your final answer. So a pretty simple formula, just keeping in mind that you are multiplying the base times the height. It's the same thing as length times width. But the reason I wanted you to do base times height is because we can use that formula for other shapes as well. So here I have a parallelogram, and you can use the same formula for parallelograms, base times height. So like I said, the base is the bottom straight edge of the shape. So our base for this one is going to be 6. But now what we have to pay attention to here, we have 2 other numbers that could be possibilities for our height. Only one of them is correct. This distance right here is actually just a side length. In order for it to be considered a height, we have to have a straight line coming from the base to the top, and actually the rule is it has to make a right angle. So if you look back to our rectangle, you'll notice our base and our height make a right angle. So do not think that this is the height. It is not the height. 2 would be the height of this parallelogram. So we come 6 times 2, we've got 12. I did centimeters again, centimeters squared as our area. And there is another video that I'm going to be posting that shows why this formula works. It's got a good visual of how the same formula works for both. It's much nicer than I could show on my program, so I'm just going to have you watch that YouTube video so that you can see that as well. So make sure that you check that out so you understand why this works. But here is what you would have to do in your work to get the correct answer. And then one more thing to be aware of, sometimes parallelograms will show the height a little bit differently. They won't show the height going here. They'll show it as kind of outside of the shape. So for this one, I didn't give it a base, but let's say that that's 5. Oh, that doesn't really make sense, does it? Oh well. Let's say that this is 5 centimeters. Make sure that whatever the side length is over here, you don't use that side length, you use this as the height. Okay, so think to yourself, you have to have that right angle, and it has to be from the base to the top of the shape a straight line, and then you shouldn't run into any problems. So I'm hoping this video won't cut me off again today, but if you have any questions, obviously let me know, call me. I'm happy to help you. Don't forget to check out that other YouTube video, and then you should be good to go on your